locking in completely ruined my life. Back in 2022, I had no income, just quit school, and my body was looking horrible, didn't make any money, everything was going down the drain, and I started hating myself. However, when I switched to a more natural way of living, everything seemed to flow towards me. I started feeling more purposeful, my addictions dropped, and that's something that many young men cannot achieve nowadays, even though they all grind so hard, right? But back when I was still on this lock-in period or grind mode, whatever you want to call it, I didn't even make money even though I worked for 10 hours a day on my own business. My body looked horrible and mentally I just felt like a big mess. And the horrible thing is that you are getting fed this mindset even more online. Just wake up at 4 AM, grind harder, set more goals, make more habits, start more businesses, try harder. And on the surface it makes sense, right? If you work hard towards something, you'll get it sooner. The harder you work, the sooner you'll get it. But sadly, back in 2022, when I still believe these gurus, I have never read the Kybalion and I didn't understand that everything that you chase will run away. And so despite me putting hours into this filmmaking business that I had and hours in the gym as well, I still barely made any money and I looked very bad. And at this point, my parents even wanted to have a conversation with me because they realized that after this year of trying all of this out, nothing seemed to work, so it was getting serious. And at that moment, the pendulum was swung all the way down. I felt horrible and I even got some suicidal thoughts, like that's not a natural way to live. But what I didn't realize is that when you're all the way down, the only way to go is up. And luckily, at that moment, when everything seemed to crumble, I discovered the holistic lifestyle. And at first, I didn't understand it because people told me that I should just go outside with my bare feet and climb trees instead of doing deep work and trying to make money. And I just thought that these guys were coping, right? But slowly and surely I started getting the point. The holistic lifestyle teaches you to make yourself feel so good, so high in energy and in such a high vibrational state that you naturally attract things into your life. And it's not this simple vague thing of thinking of a Ferrari and just being happy and then suddenly you're a millionaire. It doesn't work that way. But I just simply tried. I went outside more, I meditated, I started grounding in nature, I took more care of my mental health, I started getting into philosophy and actual knowledge that other men have gathered over thousands of years, the ancient Hermetic philosophers, the Stoics. And I started understanding things that people in this day-to-day life never understand because their mind is so narrowly focused on the logical aspects that we see in front of ourselves. And you guessed it, my life changed tremendously. I stopped grinding myself to death and I made more progress. And you see, I didn't even really notice why this change made my life so much better, but now I do, and I want to give you the exact weapons, the spiritual weapons that you can implement and the foundational understanding of the knowledge that every single person should understand nowadays, so you can arm yourself for battle, because we are fighting a spiritual war. The problem is not that you're not working enough, the problem is not that you do not have the right business model or the right workout schedule. It's your mental vibration that's totally off. And now most men have a problem of constantly thinking way too logical, and you might be hearing this word vibration or frequency and instantly dismiss it as nonsense. But if you're an intelligent young man, then you will have the patience and the desire to change yourself in such a way that will give you the ability to listen to what I'm about to say, because it'll blow your mind. People have been killed over thousands of years when they share this knowledge to the public. Because once you realize that life is more than digits, numbers, measures, routines, input, macros, tracking this, tracking that you truly start operating at a different level. So I'll explain you exactly how this works, something that the gurus will never tell you. They'll only tell you the simple surface nonsense to just work more or try a specific business model. And by the way, I'm not trying to blame you, like it's not truly your fault, right? Because you needed to have a moment where you could have access to this knowledge. So without yapping more, I'll tell you. So first of all, at a microscopic level, solid objects aren't really solid. They're just very tiny atoms vibrating at a certain pace. This is the law of vibration, also covered in the Kybalion. Now the same goes for your thoughts, ideas and emotions. They send out a certain vibration, a certain frequency. The frequency is just the speed at which something vibrates. And a simple understanding you must have is that if you vibrate at a high frequency, you will naturally attract things into your life at that same frequency. Now, once again, there is scientific proof for this. But first you have to understand that you can feel low and high vibrational emotions, because what is an emotion, right? It is energy in motion. So that means it's not stagnant, it moves in certain ways, it vibrates. and it can vibrate at different vibration, different frequencies, right? So if you're feeling anger, shame, guilt, or loneliness, those are all low vibrational frequencies. And who are the people that are trying to make you feel that way? It's mostly the people telling you to lock in for the grind, because they make you feel fear, because if you don't lock in, you'll probably be broke. That's what they tell you. They're trying to make you angry because they're showing that they're much better than you, and if you do not hate yourself, then you will never be able to make money. It's also a feeling of shame because you're not at the place that they tell you you should be at. It's a low vibration. The grind set lowers your mental vibration tremendously. Now there are also high vibrational states that you can get yourself into. Joy, peace, compassion, gratitude. These are all things that will get you into a higher vibration. Because if you dwell in these low vibrational states, like fear for example, you naturally magnetize other things that accompany that vibration into your life. But if you feel grateful, then your mind naturally observes more things to be grateful for. It's a rolling snowball, right? You start with one vibration and you just attract more stuff like that. Now, of course, once again, it doesn't mean that you think of a Ferrari and suddenly a Ferrari will drive towards your porch and you'll get the keys and now you have a Ferrari. To understand this, you have to understand the reticular activation system. This is a fascinating thing that if you understand this, and it's very simple to understand, you can manipulate your reality into such a degree that you feel like you become a wizard. You become a mental alchemist. You will be able to turn any emotion into whatever you want, so you can guide your life to what you want it to be. And that's how I got this apartment. That's how I finally got to a lean body percentage. It's how I make incredible amounts of money for my age, not doing something I hate, but doing something I love. It's incredible. So the reticular activation system, the RAS. It's the biological and scientific explanation of why manifestation or vibrations feel like such a magical power, even though it's simple cause and effect. You have to think of the RAS system as your personal gatekeeper inside of your mind. You see, your brain is actually receiving 11 million different types of information every single millisecond. Can you imagine? But what the RAS system does is it filters 99.999% of all these things, so it can narrow its focus on what's important. And it filters only what your mind perceives as essential for your happiness and survival. And the easiest way to understand this is, let's imagine you're thinking about buying a new car, let's say a red Jeep for example. Then suddenly when you go out in public and you walk around on the street, you notice a ton of red Jeeps for example. Now physically there aren't any more red Jeeps out there, they're just the same amount. But your RAS system is now focused on this one goal because you told yourself that this is a goal you want to achieve. This is something that the RAS system should focus on. So it's looking for opportunities to find this red Jeep for you. This is actually called the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. And this is where it's gonna get very interesting. Because if you spend your day focusing on how unfair your life is and how horrible your life is and all the things you cannot achieve, then your RAS system will automatically look for more reasons to give yourself that belief, right? If you focus on how bad the weather is, then your RAS system is literally trying to confirm to you that this is the case, that this is the truth. It'll look for more signs to confirm the fact that the weather is bad, or that your body looks bad, or you can fill in the blanks, right? But right now in this moment you can reprogram your RAS system to look for opportunities, to look for gratitude, to look for happiness, to look for things to be grateful about. And now here is why you have been working so hard, grinding so hard towards your goals, but you never seem to be able to truly get those milestones done that you want to accomplish. It's because you focused on what you do not have now. So that means when things do come your way, for example, when your friend gave you a random idea that could have been life-changing for you, your RAS system just filtered it out. Because you told it to just focus on negativity. You probably had thousands of opportunities where you could improve your life in such a way that would have been life-changing. But your RAS system is just brainwashed by negativity, not only by yourself, but also by the news, social media, pornography, too much video games. It's programmed into thinking in a lack, in negativity. So it thinks like, all these opportunities to improve, I do not need them, let's filter them out, because this person only wants to focus on negativity. So you can already imagine what will happen when your RAS will start focusing on positive things. You will pick up on so many opportunities in life, it will literally feel unfair. And this is where most logical people finally get this click in their minds like, hey, maybe this entire vibrational frequency thing is actually real. Because what you're actually doing is you're first doing certain habits, doing certain activities that make you feel into a good emotion, that get you into a high vibrational state, energy, emotion, Remember, you do the habits, breath work, meditation, going outside, getting daylight, grounding in nature to get your mind into such a high frequency state that your RAS will start looking for opportunities. And because your RAS operates at such a good state, you notice things that all these people on grind mode never notice. And that's why climbing a tree is actually a way to make money. Because climbing a tree will make you feel grounded, it'll lower your cortisol, it'll higher your serotonin, putting this energy in motion, getting yourself from a low vibrational state into a high vibrational state. So your RAS works more profoundly. So when I return from just climbing a tree or just having a laugh outside or just drinking a cup of coffee, I will return home and my body actually automatically starts focusing and noticing opportunities to change my life. And now you can take this even further with visualization, because your body, your RAS system, doesn't really know the truth between reality, the physical reality we live in, and our imagination, which is also reality. It's just a mental reality, because the Hermetics also said that everything in the mental world will manifest in the physical world. Everything starts in the mind, because if we imagine something, we close our eyes and we become very grateful of the people we have around ourselves and the things we want in life, and we look at it not in a state of lack but in a state of abundance. We want these things to flow towards us. Then our mind thinks it's reality, so our RAS system gets focused on positivity and noticing opportunities. So when those opportunities actually arrive, it feels like we've attracted them, but the only thing we've done is we've actually trained our RAS system to pick up on them. So when you feel a negative emotion, remember that it is just energy in motion and you can move it upwards. Breath work, meditation, yoga. Yoga is actually you changing your entire energetic field around yourself. Grounding, walking outside, doing sprints, working out, drinking a cup of organic coffee. So many things will get you into a higher vibrational state. So what you do when you feel bad is you shouldn't lock in, because you're doing all these things, but your RAS system is so messed up that you do not notice any opportunities. First, you higher your vibration, you higher your mental state, and then things will come your way. And that'll feel like magic, and that's what they don't want you to know. So that's it for now, brothers. I'll see you in the next video.